What's up, y'all? This is Alex from the Rim Review. The Rim Review is a page that offers in-depth player analysis and gives nuance to the way you watch basketball. In this series, we're going to be looking over every single prospect in the upcoming NBA draft. In today's episode, we're going to look at the 6'8 forward from Colorado, Tristan Da Silva. When looking at Da Silva's game, there are a few offensive strengths that stand out. The first of which is his shooting, where Da Silva shot 39% from beyond the arc. He has a nice release and has great length and is able to get shots up over smaller defenders. Secondly, he's a very good cutter, where he averaged 1.36 points per possession on cuts. Next, he's very talented in transition, where he's had the ability to go coast to coast and push, but he's also shown flashes of operating in trail spots or just sprinting to space in transition. This is a big reason why he has a 1.188 points per possession average in transition. Finally, Da Silva has a really nice post touch and is able to score with both hands. While he doesn't really operate in the post often, I love seeing him feel comfortable having touch shots with both his left and right. There are still a couple of big weaknesses to Da Silva's game offensively. The first of which is the fact that he's not that great at finishing through contact. Oftentimes he will result in fading away and not absorbing the contact to score. Secondly, and this is definitely a more minor complaint, but I'd like to see him set more harder and physical screens. I think he's really good at slipping screens and setting touch screens, but I haven't seen him have those big bruising screens that get you excited about a prospect. Now, let's get into the film and watch Da Silva play. On this possession, Da Silva's going to get the rebound and go coast to coast in transition. He doesn't really explode here, but what I like to see him do is play off of both feet. As you see right here, he gets his balance and has a nice finish. On this next clip, Da Silva is once again in transition. While he doesn't blow by you, he makes multiple moves and then plays off 2 feet to score. On this possession, it's much more impressive. Da Silva starts off with a really great block and is now pushing and then knocks down this 3. The reason why Da Silva was able to get open is because this honestly becomes like a drag screen right here with how Da Silva dribbles. So this man is clipped, he decides to go under, and this help should be like about here, but is further back. And as soon as that happens, Da Silva knocks it down. In this next clip, Da Silva is going to be in a trail position. As we can see, Da Silva's running behind the ball. However, he runs it, gets the ball, and once again, look at this. It's a nice 2-foot finish. It's amazing what you can do when you play off of 2. On this clip, Da Silva is once again going to be trailing in transition. He gets the ball here and flows in to a nice looking shot. When you're operating in transition and you don't have the ball and you're not in a trail spot, one thing that's really good to do is exactly what Da Silva did here and sprint to open space. On this next clip, Da Silva gets a steal and then sprints to the corner again in order to get open. While he doesn't knock this shot down, I like the instincts. Another thing that Da Silva does quite well is cutting, and we'll see that here. On this clip, Da Silva does a really nice job cutting through and having a nice score. Being engaged off ball is a huge benefit of Da Silva's game. On this clip, Da Silva is once again going to cut. He cuts backdoor and gets an easy dunk. Great stuff. Now let's watch Tristan Da Silva in the pick and roll. On this clip, Da Silva's not going to be setting the screen, but he's actually going to receive an empty screen, meaning there's no one over here. And then once he gets that, he comes downhill, and once again, look at this. He's jumping off of both feet. This is a huge skill in his game, and it allows him to have such a nice touch. Playing off of 2 is a huge skill, and Da Silva has that skill. Right here, he once again gets his balance and has a nice reverse finish. On this clip, Tristan Da Silva is going to be in a pick and roll situation versus drop coverage. Right here, Da Silva calls for a ball screen and goes at the center. However, the center remains vertical and it clearly bothers Da Silva, forcing a miss. On this next clip, Da Silva's going to get an empty ball screen. He has Eddie Lampkin twist it, and then he kind of forces up a bad shot. I'd like to see Da Silva be a little bit more creative here and honestly just feel more comfortable. I think he could potentially have a nice shuffle pass right here, and really, if he was a next level playmaker, this could be a dump off right here as the number 0's open, or you could hit KJ Simpson on a skip. Both of those are open, however, that was not the read. On this possession, Tristan Da Silva is going to push, however, he slows up and calls for a screen, comes in, but misses a kick. What's really important is when this guy is going to swipe at the ball for KJ Simpson to take one step this way, and then Da Silva needs to get the ball out of his hands and continue the advantage, because it then becomes a 2-on-1 with this guy having to guard these two. However, Da Silva takes one more dribble and loses the basketball. On this clip, Tristan Da Silva is going to be used as a screener. He pops right here and then has a nice 2-foot finish. When looking at this play, first off, it's a ram action, meaning that Da Silva is coming off of an Eddie Lampkin screen. I like that Da Silva runs somewhat hard to the screen, but then he doesn't really make contact. And in this setting, that is fine. But when it becomes every screen you set, it becomes a little bit of an issue. On this play, Da Silva sets a screen, once again doesn't make much contact, and then completely settles against Wooga Poplar. I think that this settling and honestly not making contact is a concern that he could be better with. On this clip, he once again pops, it doesn't make any contact on the screen, and it becomes a miss. I would really hope he could become a better screener. Now, in a pick and roll situation, Tristan Da Silva is once again trying to set a screen. Right here, KJ Simpson has the ball, and Da Silva touches and gets out quickly, which I like. However, there wasn't much contact, but still, this was good because you exited the screen quickly and got the ball for a nice touch shot. Now, let's watch Tristan Da Silva in DHO situations. Right here, Da Silva comes off the DHO and flows into a really pretty looking 3-point shot. I love seeing how he's confident and comfortable with his release, and that's why he does shoot 39%. On this clip, it's more the same, it just doesn't fall, but it still looked good. On this clip, Tristan Da Silva is actually going to showcase that you can do more in dribble handoff situations. And right here, Tristan Da Silva isn't going to shoot a 3, but is instead going to curl and then cut for a dunk. Great stuff. Right here, it's another dribble handoff opportunity for Tristan Da Silva. Da Silva starts off in the corner and is then going to come off of what becomes a zoom action with a screen here leading to a dribble handoff here. And then Da Silva has a nice 2-foot floater. I love the 2 feet, but I don't love the fact that he kind of forced the shot. In the NBA, if this was a Derek Lively that could actually jump, unlike Eddie Lampkin, this could be a lob. But instead, it's this floater, which is a miss. Now, let's move on to isolation, which is an area that Tristan Da Silva could work on. In this possession right here, Da Silva is going to lift and get the ball on the wing. Da Silva goes downhill, but once again, looks a bit awkward when he has to deal with this contact. He doesn't play off 2 feet here, and it led to a miss. On this possession, it's another isolation setup for Da Silva. Da Silva's going to get the ball and then try to get to his spot on the nail. I actually don't hate this shot at the end of the shot clock, it just didn't fall. Now, let's look at Tristan Da Silva in post situations where he's sneaky good for only being 6'8". Right here, he's going to back down his man and then have a nice left-handed touch shot. On this possession, Tristan Da Silva is actually going to showcase that he can score with both hands as he backs down his man here. Once again, only 6'8", but he's able to use his size to score and then goes into a right-handed touch. Another thing that he operates really well in is getting his body into positioning and sealing and calling for the ball. Right here, he seals and finishes the play. Da Silva is also a not the best passer, but he's shown flashes of passing out of the post. I don't know how much he'll operate in the post in the NBA, but seeing passes like this are really cool. Good read, and he knocks it down. One thing that he takes way too often, and I mean way too often, is settling for post fade shots. As you see right here, Da Silva's going to back down his man and just take this shot, which isn't efficient, and there's not much time on the shot clock. Now, let's watch a little bit of Tristan Da Silva in half-court situations. Right here, he's spacing the floor, and he's going to showcase a bit of shooting as he knocks down an NBA level 3. On this clip, Da Silva is once again going to be in a situation where he's looking to have a catch-and-shoot 3. Right here, what I love to see from Da Silva is the fact that he relocates. For those of y'all who didn't notice it, he initially lifts up, but then when his man turns down and starts going downhill, Da Silva goes downhill with him to stay in the passing lane. Great stuff. On this possession, Da Silva is once again going to have a catch-and-shoot 3 opportunity. Right here, he's continuing to lift to the wing, makes a post entry, and then drifts closer to the man and just can't knock it down, but still a good look. Right here, Da Silva's going to come off a screen. He comes off it with pace. The shot looks good. However, it doesn't fall. Now, let's move on to the defensive strengths of Tristan Da Silva. The first strength for him is the fact that he has decent driving line defense, but his length makes his driving line defense really good. With long arms, he's able to elevate, maybe not being the quickest guy, and that's really great to see. Secondly, I think he's a really good player in the gaps. He's typically in a good spot help side and plays very hard. Finally, he's always remaining vertical, and while he only has 18 blocks, he's able to play without fouling, and there's so many more shots that he impacts. He's only 6'8", but seeing this driving line verticality or rim protection from him is just fun. There's still some pretty big weaknesses to Da Silva's game defensively. The first of which is the fact that he's not the best player in pick and roll situations. Da Silva's screen navigation is not great, and there are also stretches where he will almost get beat if his man is setting the screen and he'll be late to the actual location of where the screen occurs. Secondly, if he ends up playing the 4 in the NBA, he would definitely be undersized, which could cause problems. And finally, there's stretches where he's simply disengaged defensively, and that just can't happen in the pros. Now, let's get into the film and watch Tristan Da Silva on the defensive end. Right here, Tristan Da Silva is going to switch onto a guard. However, he's able to use his length, and wow, look at that block. Just great driving line defense. On this clip, Tristan Da Silva is not so lucky. Right here, he's initially doing a really solid job guarding the paint. However, he's playing very aggressive up high, gets ripped through, and beat. Not the best driving line play from Da Silva, and once again, you just can't give guys angles like that. On this possession, he starts off guarding Tyler Kolek. Kolek passes the ball, and then completely beats Da Silva and gets to the cup. Now, let's watch a little bit of Da Silva's help side verticality, which is something that he's able to do pretty well. Right here, he comes over, and it's really impressive because he's honestly talking to Eddie Lampkin, getting the defense set right here, not even looking at the ball in the corner, but comes over, and look at this, his hands are up, and he remains vertical. On this clip, it's another opportunity for Da Silva to showcase his help side defense. Right here, Da Silva comes over, and once again, while he gets a block, what I'm more impressed with is the fact that his arms are staying straight up, which is great to see. On this clip, Tristan Da Silva is going to showcase more of his off-ball defensive skills. Right here, Da Silva is going to be in the gaps, and he swipes at the ball right here, and then comes back, closes out well, slides his feet, and he just shows good defense. He's helping, and then he has good on ball. It's everything you want. On this possession, Tristan Da Silva is in the corner, and what's really interesting to see here is he helps off a strong side corner, so he swipes for the ball, causing a pass this way, but his length is great, and he impacts that shot right there, leading to a miss. On this clip, Tristan Da Silva is going to showcase some of his competitiveness and skills he has from that perspective. Right here, as this punch screen is set, Da Silva fights over and gets a steal in the post. This is something that I don't think we're going to see a ton from him in the NBA, but it's good to be reminded that he does compete. On this clip, once again, active hands and a wraparound steal. One thing that I do think would be considered to be an issue for him is the fact that sometimes he gives up things like this and this drop step. Once guys are able to get the ball into the post on him, he's not the strongest and he gets beat. So he almost has to fight to get those steals, because if he doesn't, he's kind of cooked. On this possession, it's no different. The ball is given up here, and then it's a spin move finish with an easy dunk.
Lucas.
Now let's watch Tristan Da Silva in the pick and roll. And we can start off here where he does a nice job handling this refuse screen and having good driving line defense. On this clip, it's another instance of that where Da Silva is going to showcase his driving line abilities. As this screen is set, Tristan Da Silva fights over it and then has good driving line defense and gets a block. This next clip is not an example of good defense, as Da Silva is going to be a little lazy and go completely under the screen. He goes under, gets clipped by his own man, and it leads to a miss, but you still can't be doing that. Right here, Da Silva is going to switch again. However, he's not so fortunate as he was the other times, and he's going to get beat. As he switches on to Jordan Pope, Pope sizes him up, changes directions, and has an easy layup. On this clip, Tristan Da Silva's man is going to be the guy setting the screen, and Da Silva initially just isn't attached to him, struggles to fight through this ram, and by the time this screen is being set, Da Silva is sprinting with all of his momentum going here, and as you see, you can't stop on a dime, and it becomes an easy pick and pop three. On this last clip for Tristan Da Silva, we're going to see a little bit more of him off ball defensively. Right here, as you saw, Da Silva just wasn't paying attention to his man. It was an issue. He just was kind of looking in no man's land. His eyes are literally just looking in the crowd right here, and he gets beat and he gives up a three. That stuff cannot happen at the NBA. Overall, I think Tristan Da Silva has the potential to be a really solid role player in the NBA. And making this video, there wasn't much that I think really stood out to him from him doing at a level that was far superior to anyone else in the NBA. However, I think he's a jack of all trades and can do a lot of things at a solid level. And when you're 6'8" and have a somewhat decent movement and can do a lot of things at an okay or decent level, that's enough to have you be a 7th or 8th man on an NBA roster. I like the shooting, I like the length, and I think there's some things that can be tweaked and sharpened to make him a better player. As far as what his ceiling could be, I think maybe he could be like a 5th starter as a connective piece. However, I'd be surprised if that happened. I think more likely than not, his career is going to be one in which he's a really good, solid role player. Think 7th or 8th guy off the bench, plays hard, and fills your team, and you're going to give him 18 to 23 minutes a game, and he's going to have the occasional night where he goes off. And you know what? If you can get that in a player, there is nothing wrong with that pickup. As far as his floor, I think maybe if his defense, he's not really able to rely on his length as much as he used to be, and maybe that could also hurt his offense from a lack of touch perspective, then all of a sudden he doesn't provide some of the benefits that he used to, and all of a sudden he becomes just kind of a random shooter that doesn't even shoot as some of the best sharpshooters would. And then at that point, we're looking at someone that will only be in the NBA for a couple of years. As far as where I would draft him, I would say he's worth going in the late 1st round pick or maybe early in the 2nd, probably anywhere from 25 to like 35-ish. Overall, that's my take on Tristan Da Silva, and thank you again for watching another episode of The Rim Review.